Episode 36 of the Trackside Lounge, and a lot to cover this week. So let's get started, boys. What's the weekend been holding for you?
Well, there's been no shortage of action with Supercars and Formula One and even the Speedway.
And Waiuku.
Supercars, I suppose, we may as well kick off with, because that's kind of the big one for Oceania, Australasia, whatever. Mozzie winning the title.
Hang on, the way you said that, Mozzie winning the title, like, yes.
Well, he posted on his story, his whole celebratory stuff, and he had this little mosquito emoji, and I was trying to work it out. I was like, what? Insect? Mozzie. Okay. Nicely done, Chaz. But isn't it interesting how the very same people who a month or two ago were talking all about this finals format and, this is exciting and this is exactly what the sport needs to be rejuvenated. Now some of those same people are claiming that Red Bull was robbed, and I mean, no points for guessing where their allegiances lie at the end of the day. But yeah, it's what do we feel about that incident?
Well, hang on. Well, I missed the race, okay, so you're going to have to talk me through this. One, with the finals format, it was championship runs, and they had the sprint races, and it all builds up and all that sort of stuff. How did that pan out in the end? Was it good? Did it do the rejuvenation of it?
What happened was at the end of the day, the
wheels fell off.
At the last round of the season, and there's a lot of right and wrong with Fiat Supercars. We all know that they do this and they do that, but they put on a fantastic show. You know, the other thing too, we don't want to forget, is that they just signed a deal with the Adelaide Council that they're going to have another 9 years extended at that same facility. So the council's got on board that this is great for the region. Yep. So 5 people could have taken the championship on the Saturday. That was reduced to 4, was because of points finishing and everything. And by and large, a pretty decent race on that Saturday. Mozzie, Chaz Mostert actually had a shocker. He hit the wall. He hit the tyre bundle 3 times, dislodged the front end of the car. The bumper stayed on, but it was a woeful vehicle. I think he hit everything but the safety car, quite literally. He bumped, not being out there being a silly driver, but he had bumps and scrapes, and you just have those days. The car looked like a come back from a World War II thing in a Harvard. It looked like it had bullet holes all over it, and it was pretty bad. So then on the Sunday, it ended up being that there was 4 people in with contention of the points, and that includes obviously Brock Feeney, Will Brown, Kai Allen, and Chaz Mostert. Now Mostert, after the display that he put on in this car, the thing was woeful, but the car that turned out on Sunday was immaculate. And so the race starts, and lap 1, turn 3 or 4, the race leader was Brock Feeney. Ryan Wood, the Kiwi, was not in the points hunt, but right up there behind him, and has a big challenge for, I think it was turn 5, big challenge up the inside. Gets right up by the B pillar, not quite at the B pillar, by apparently inches, and Brock was quite aggressive about defending from Woody. Woody gets right up there beside him like this, and then just Brock turns in, as well as he actually turned in so hard he put Woody into the wall. So it's not like Woody actually turned in to turn him around. Brock actually turned in, put Woody into the wall, and then, of course, Woody bounces off and spins Brock around, goes to the back of the field. A little side note there was that on the Saturday, Brock had been chasing an engine issue, but it actually hadn't completely impeded him, and the car cleaned up, and he carried on. He did well, which is awesome. But that engine issue a little bit later, what we understand, and I don't know, but nothing to do with the contact. But that same engine issue, even after they'd changed just about everything but the kitchen sink, came back, and unfortunately, woefully for Brock Feeney, he finished 20th and was well out of the points. And the rest is history. Chaz Mostert goes on to win. Brock comes second in the championship, but as we all know, second sucks. With respect, that's the case. He also celebrated, Feeney also celebrated, and I'm not a Brock Feeney fan, I'll be honest with you, I'm not. I don't know what it is. It's nothing personal. It's just some people you either get behind or some people you're not a fan of. I don't say I dislike him or hate him, I'm just not a fan. And that's the way you are. And
he likes you, though.
He loves me. He thinks I'm wonderful.
A lot of good stuff. Brock, he doesn't really mean. He thinks you're
Brock for mayor, I say. Mayor of second place. But he, and at the end of the day, he unfortunately came second. The problem is he'd actually just got another pole position, hadn't he? So it's like 19 poles, a record-breaking amount of pole positions through the year. No one, I don't know if anyone's going to surpass that next year. But there's so many stories to come out of it. Oh, Ryan Wood did this on purpose because he's Chaz Mostert's teammate. So, of course, there's the conspiracy. All the arms folded, shoulders hunches. And there's plenty of more conspiracies to come out of it. But the engine issue that had happened on the Saturday came back on the Sunday, and I believe that would have happened with or without the contact, and obviously Brock would have struggled.
Yeah, for the amount of sensors and bits and pieces that they changed, like I say, between the contact, the wheel nut issues, which one can argue that those wheel nut issues were because of...
Brock had a bad pit stop.
but people can argue that was because of the contact.
Possibly.
Anyway, contact, wheel nut drama, not one but two, and then the engine dramas. One could say that it was never going to be Brock's race in the first place, because could you imagine if he hadn't been turned around and he was winning by a country mile, and then the engine issues would have crept up? Can you imagine the heartbreak there?
Oh, that's right. And you've got then the problem there for the keyboard warriors. They've got no one to hate. They've got no one to point their anger at.
I think there's going to be a bunch of them pointing at me. You know.
Don't worry about that. Last time I worried about keyboard warriors was never. But no, that was pretty cool. I mean, it was a great race meet. I mean, again, you know, hats off to the Supercars crowd. They put on a massive, massive show. They had a big concert on the nights as well. I mean, people were just as keen to go to that as they were to the racing.
Yep.
It was, a lot of people say it's a yawn fest and it's hard to pass. For some reason, those races there was a lot of passing. There were some really good results.
So it was a good race.
It was a good race, yeah.
Yep.
So do we actually like the finals format now that it's all like I've always said that I needed to see it in practice before I made a decision. I'm still not entirely convinced.
Come on, no, make the decision. Good or bad?
I don't know. It's.
I mean, did you like that race?
I like that race, but it's just weird because, like you say, all the NASCAR guys, and we haven't even talked about Austin Cindric.
No,
American, the wild card. So they actually brought one of the NASCAR drivers over, and he was running. And to his credit, his first race was in about as wet as you can get without, being monsoon conditions.
He was great turning left.
He actually, he didn't put it in the fence.
Yep.
Turn 8, he could have just as easily slammed it into the wall at a whopping rate of knots, like Thomas Randall. But he didn't.
Too soon.
So, I mean, he didn't really feature, but he certainly didn't feature for the wrong reasons.
The new championship tabulation, still on the fence over that, because it was a good race. But over the season, do you think the new system has paid dividends?
I just still get confused because they tell you that they get through the Sprint Cup and then they wipe the points, right? And then they do the Enduro Cup and all that. But then when we were doing the endurance races, we were watching this. The points were still there. So I don't know. Did they wipe it? Did they not? Hey, look, it's delivered some racing. It's delivered some cracking action. Car 25 takes it in 25, and I mean, how many years has Chaz been trying to do this?
Come on, there's got to be a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy. I can see it. Look at his mind weary.
Car 25 takes it in 25. How lucky is that? Yeah. And what happens next year? We've got a new contender.
Yeah,
come on, there's a conspiracy coming here.
And the Toyota Supra will be wearing the number 1, I believe.
That better be a quick car, because could you imagine if they have? Imagine if they have teething issues and the car 1 is in like 20th.
Isn't it incredibly convenient? Car 25 wins in 25 with a controversial new system, and a new car comes on board that just happens to be carrying the number 1 in its first season.
I knew there was going to be a conspiracy coming from you. I mean, and you're right. I mean, from the outside point of view, Toyota couldn't have wanted for better. Seeing that car run around for the entirety of 2026 with the number 1 on it, it's fantastic. But it's going to be like Nathan's saying, it's going to be really hard work now for Toyota and for the Aussie team running that's Walkinshaw, because man, they can't really they need to be top 10 or better from a car that's out of the box.
There's an extra expectation. There was always going to be expectation on a new car, but now there's that extra expectation on the champion team.
Which once again plays into the conspiracy theory. There's going to be so much interest going into it.
But it'll be interesting too how Red Bull do next year, given they're jumping across to Ford, and now Ford's the champion manufacturer, which... Anyway, so a lot of mix-up in the Supercars series,
And the other thing too, Will Brown won't be running at number 1 because he has been this season. So what's his number going to be, 2026? Is he going to be, because Craig Lowndes is out of it, so he's going to be 888?
I guess so.
I understand that 888 is up for grabs. Yeah. Craig Lowndes has said, someone can have that.
Because that was a number known to Craig Lowndes. I mean, from 20-odd years he's been 888, I think it was, or maybe not 20 years, but for a long time. I mean, Shane's known for 97. Guys are known for their numbers. Not many of them, though, are their own unique numbers. So either 88 for Brock, because he obviously won't be number 1, and they don't run the 2 and 3, do they? As far as the two second in the title. So Ryan Wilbur's number 2.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays.
I think 888's always been 888's number. It's just that they've been in a position that they've enjoyed so much success recently, where they've been able to be number 1 and then number 1. I mean, what were their numbers when Kostecki was number 1? Because he would. Brown
Yeah,
wouldn't have been.
he was part of with Erebus and that he ran the Erebus.
No, I'm saying what were the 888 cars? Cause
I see.
they wouldn't have been 8. We would
I
have
think
known
Brown
if
was
they were
87,
888.
wasn't he? Brown was 87,
Yeah, something like that.
and it was sort of like a tribute to Shane, 97, but 87 part of Red Bull, and it wasn't, but it was, and then Brock was 88, and then of course Lowndes was AAA. But and that's actually one thing you bring up too, and I'm sure there's a conspiracy, is that as much as Toyota have to be really up there in the championship now, the 888 Fords have to be up there.
Yep.
They can't. I mean, they've got to hit the ground running too. And I mean, they are a different power plant. Yes, they're going to be the engineers, chassis, and all that sort of stuff. No problem. But they have to. They really have to deliver. And it's changing manufacturer. That's a big ask.
Yep.
I mean, and you've seen, who is it that's got Roland Dane has come back to not Premier? Is it Premier or
one of the teams.
Team 18?
He's back in the mix.
He's come back in and he's bringing people with him, and we know that that's going to be a strong team. And the Chev. So Chev are keen as mustard to stay top dog on supercars. Ford are hoping that 888's going to be the right team, and then resurge the Dick Johnsons, who didn't really shine over Adelaide, unfortunately. And then, of course, Toyota now. And now there's going to be 6 or 8 Toyotas hitting the track in 2026.
6, yeah.
I think it's 6, yeah.
Nice.
So they need to have a really good power plant, and that's on Walkinshaws. So, boy, talk about pressure.
I reckon you're not going to have an issue with the Toyota power plant. I reckon it's going to come out of the box. It's going to be shining. The thing about the Ford power plants, remember they had the big bleat earlier this year about it, not get the cooling and we can't get that, and then they had to blah, blah, blah. Hopefully all that will be, now that they're like the top manufacturer, that'll all be sorted out. And I guess Chev have got to be looking to what's going to replace the Camaro as time goes on.
True. Actually, the other one too, just completely, while my little brain thinks about it, wasn't one of those road to town or town to track in the Supra. I think the engine crapped itself. I think
Really?
they actually, I'm pretty sure they had to replace an engine in the Supra to do the road to. There was an issue; they had to actually do an engine change or something.
Yeah, it was
might have been demo laps or something, but the engine went down in the Toyota. So, but they said they found what the problem was. They learnt from it. I'm pretty sure it was a valve, dropped the valve, and that's to get it to go to the town back. They were hoping it was going to be all right, but that's so even
no one
early,
noticed the tow cable to the car.
and the
don't
car's
worry
done,
about that.
and the car's done virtually no mileage.
on the hazard lights as well.
Yeah, so that's supercars. Let's move to Formula One, because obviously only just recently the Formula One race is still up for grabs at the moment. The championship is now even more wide open than it was, and your mate Verstappen, as you pronounce it, done the ultimate thing, won the race.
Who could have guessed that 4 or 5 races ago when the points gap was something like 100 plus points, and now we're down to 16.
But we were talking about that last week, and I once again came up with a massive conspiracy theory on that one. How it all sort of falls into place, and it does happen to fall into place. Although I did read this morning, Max Verstappen apparently made a comment saying that if he'd have been driving a McLaren this year, he would have already had the title.
He probably would have. But did you see why the McLarens tripped up this one in Qatar?
Oh, what, they ground their down plates again? The planks underneath?
No,
them,
they didn't.
0.9 of a millimetre or
they
something?
didn't pit under safety car. So Hulkenberg had an issue, and I can't remember who he tagged, but he tagged someone, and safety car clean up all the debris, and he just Red Bulls pitted and the McLarens didn't. And I mean, McLaren have already said that they're trying to not favour any driver. Mm-hmm. So I guess they didn't want to double stack one over the other. So they just didn't pit either of them, I guess.
Yeah. No, you guys don't feel like coming into the pit street. No, we're fine. Good. You can both stay out.
And then when they did make that, because I think everybody two-stopped. I think it was a two-stop strategy. Most of the guys were on the mediums, then the mediums, and then, they were free to run the softs. The McLarens ran the hards. So... yeah, I don't know. They whether they're so intent on not favouring one driver or the other that they're just kind of screwing them both over, and then Max is just here lapping it up. So, but
they've got the manufacturer.
Carlos Sainz P3 in the Williams.
Yep.
Tell me why him in a Williams has gotten more podiums than Hamilton in a Ferrari. Remembering that Ferrari were the ones that arseholed him, saying, Hamilton's the greatest of all time, and 7-time champion, and he's going to do so well, and
suddenly it comes out that Carlos Sainz has still got it.
So anyway, that's just one of those
magic times for Williams, I think is what there was. I mean, a repeatable thing for a Williams, who knows?
Liam Lawson finished 9th, so he gets
In
2
the
points.
In the points.
And Yuki right behind him gets 10th.
Hang on, but Liam's teammate, he was...
he was running 6th or 7th, I think, and then he got a puncture.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this puncture necessitated a DNF.
Yeah.
So, usually you think you'd just chuck another tyre on it and
I
go,
thought
but
so.
it must have damaged
Damaged the
something.
suspension or something,
They plucked that car. I think probably one of the only retirements. I think Hulkenberg
There's
also...
four cars retired.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, 4
I only
cars,
caught the
yeah.
highlights once,
Yes,
and that was
yeah.
about half an hour ago. So
Yeah, and the funny thing with Isaac, he's the guy to get back out there and wants to get across the line. But the highlights package, I'm not actually seen the full race yet, but the highlights package was shocking because all they cared about was the top 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah.
Everyone else was sort of there. Oh, there was sort of something happened. Oh, there's some contact and back to the front, and it's like. To be fair, in their defence, Formula One, they actually decided not to be focusing on the wives and girlfriends and truffles and families and all
Credit
that
where
sort of
it's
stuff.
due. Yep.
So maybe they've sort of listened to public pressure and going, you know what, we care about the cars, but we also care about the non-championship cars out there.
Yeah.
When everyone's paid the same money to get on the track, and 20 cars running around the track, and they focus primarily on 4 or 5 cars, which I can see it, like as we say, in the pointy end of the championship for the supercars, but for F1. They've got to remember that everyone there is a multi-million-dollar team.
they
it's
actually
not nickels and dimes either.
they actually don't pay the same money to be on the track, eh?
Oh, there we go. See, conspiracy or fact?
No,
you be the
that's
judge.
fact.
You be
That's
the
fact.
judge.
Your
No,
entry
no.
fees are
Yep.
determined on your last year's performance. So the winners pay more and the lower teams pay less.
Oh, wow.
Gives them
Think
more.
of it the other way round.
I'm starting to see the
It's
logic
harsh.
of things like this now. That's why McLaren suddenly have backed off, because it's going to be cheaper for the next couple of races. We've got the manufacturing in the bag.
Saves them a cool few $1 million.
And it'll come down to the last race. It'll be, okay, boys, toss a coin. Who gets the first corner? And just go out there and race the wheels off it. Make sure Verstappen doesn't
But
win.
do those sorts of savings really matter when you're paying your drivers? So I don't know if you've seen what Formula One drivers get paid at the moment. Most of the rookies are on about $1 million a year. Lawson, Colapinto, and all that.
It's you worry about the pennies, and the pounds look after themselves.
Something like that.
So
yeah.
if it's multi-million dollars, you save cents where you can.
Yep.
Because it all adds up in the end,
Yeah.
And I'm sure Zach Brown has got his eye on a few other, old Formula One cars that he wants to add to his collection. So the more.
But can you imagine how much Ferrari must have forked out for Lewis, for Hamilton, because obviously 7-time champion,
and how much money they're saving?
Well, how much they're not getting because he's not converting the results,
which is a saving for Ferrari.
That's true.
But here we are talking about Liam, hoping that Liam gets a drive next year, and commonly he's actually been as good or in
he's
front of.
The one who's consistently.
But he's been there or in front of a thing like Lewis Hamilton.
You keep seeing the stories that the decision's been deferred, and things like that. So look, Liam, mate, you deserve it.
If it is to be believed, there was an article over the weekend that actually said Liam knows his fate and can't comment at the moment. He said, I can't say anything at the moment, but he does.
So
he
did
does
Yuki.
know.
So did Yuki.
Yeah.
Yuki said the
so
same thing.
It's going to be interesting how that plays out. But I'll tell you right now, as an employer, I think we mentioned this before. As an employer, that is a crap way to treat your staff. And I think in any way, shape, or form, you've got to gamble. You've got to roll the dice on somebody. Rightly or wrongly, you've got to roll the dice, and it's right to say to them, this is what we're going to do. Because the amount of media you see all of these 5-cent news agencies out there who are coming up with this is what's going to happen, and it's complete bunkum. It's based on someone said something about something at a party.
They got to get their clicks
but
in.
They're allowing this to happen, and it's
So we
not.
get clicks.
It's not how you look after your drivers. It's not how you look after, because it's not just the drivers. It's their families. It's their friends. It's their group and associations that they're part of as well. And you don't look after them like that. Red Bull are a disgrace. They really are.
But see, we could totally get clicks and views if I put up a video that said you won't believe Nik Brown's controversial take on Waikaraka Park.
That's right.
That's the sort of thing that pulls in the ad revenue, and then you read the article and it's the most nonsensical, empty. He said something. It was good.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I wrote that script. I
more in
tried
an
my best.
update. ChatGPT coming into clutch once again. But look.
But as far as looking after your drivers, they are the epitome of your team. They are the ones that are pointing your $3 million car around that corner, not to crash into that wall, which will destroy it. And the way you treat them, I think that's wrong. V8 supercars.
The way you treat them, even though some of them too push that $3 million car into the wall by being. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It rhymes with pass shoal. Some of the drivers, they have massive brain fades.
But we have a V8 supercar silly season, and I'm sure most classes have a silly season. I think WRC have a bit of a silly season on who's driving what. but nowhere to the level of Formula One. And I think for the highest echelon of racing in the world, they should actually not treat people like that, especially Red Bull. I think, this conjecture that we know that Max has signed, we know that Isaac has signed. Anyway, I'm probably off on a tangent, but I just think it's disgusting.
The difference between Formula One and like most other motorsports is just the sheer number of people, and obviously by people I mean kids and teenagers and stuff, who aim to be like, I saw this thing a while ago, there's something like 15,000 drivers currently in like junior formula around the world, TRS, Formula Renault, Formula 4 and all that sort of stuff. And then of those, about 1,000 will make it to Formula 3, and then only about 30 or 40 will make it to Formula 2. And then obviously Formula 1, there's 20 spots, soon to be 22 with the Cadillac team. But, the pyramid really narrows at the top very quickly. And, where upon other motorsports, it's sort of like, supercars. Oh, I didn't make it into supercars. Oh, I might go and try Asian Le Mans, GT or something that's sort of similar. Formula One doesn't really have that. I mean, I know we joke about IndyCar being the sort of the place for Formula One drivers to retire, but as far as other top tier open wheel categories, it's IndyCar or even Super Formula comes to mind. Yeah, but that's it.
If you're going to look at IndyCar versus Formula One, IndyCar teams take care of their drivers a lot better. They really do. They see them as an integral part of the team. And I guess it's part of the machinations and the machinery and maybe the histrionics of Formula One, whereas they tend to look at the drivers as commodities, because I'm sure if you talk to the technical chaps, they say, well, if it really came down to it, we could control it from the pits, and so, and that's not what you want.
That's not racing. No one wants to watch RC racing, guys, just quietly.
And I'll finish on Formula One with this. Brendan Hartley, who used to be a Formula One driver, is now one of the most successful world endurance drivers out there with Toyota and those hybrid cars that they have. So from Formula One, and like you said about the retirement homes of this, that and the other, WEC is a huge one as well. So, and the Indy cars are not slow. I mean, they're actually faster in some cases than Formula One, but they're roundy tracks by and large.
It's a higher sustained speed because when they're on the oval.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's interesting. Changing topic.
Okay.
Tar seal to dirt.
Yep.
Waikaraka Park. Now, I'll just do a little bit of the backstory here. You're the open wheel guy. Okay, you're the guy from Western
Sprint cars, midgets, TQs.
You know nothing about stock cars and mini stocks. And
I didn't know a hell of a lot about open wheelers. I just loved going to see them. I loved the noise. I loved and the thing that I always saw as a difference between stock car events and stuff that used to happen at Western Springs is it was called Speedway because they were bloody fast. I mean, wicked fast. And it always used to irk me is that in stock car meetings, traditionally, because when we first came to New Zealand, the guy at the garage next door used to be a stock car driver and used to go and watch him. And he used to like crashing into stuff, and while that's all well and good, it doesn't become a speedway. But I learned an awful lot at Waikaraka Park on Saturday night. I met some of the teams, looked at some of the cars. God, they're impressive, massively impressive. And the Super Saloons went out and christened the track. The fastest ever first heat for Super Saloons at Waikaraka Park. It was over and done in 10 laps, and it was wicked fast. The overwhelming response was, going into turn one, they thought it was a little bit dusty, dug the car in, and it stuck. So you could just keep it flat through there, gun it down through 3 and 4, and they were having a great time. Then, and this is when I started to learn about the other classes out there. Stock cars went out, and there was a bit of argy-bargy. We got the first rollover on the track, as you've always got to. Heat 1s for both of those was pretty good. Heat 2 was visibly faster, and I mean like probably at least a second a lap faster for every single car out there because they found the track had got a bit of grip. And they started to use the cars. And this is the best bit about it, is the mini stocks, where kids learn to control cars, and it's a non-contact sport. But the development of the mini stock drivers and their ability to travel on, there are mini stock drivers that go straight into super saloons, they go straight into super stocks, they go into TQs, they go into sprint cars, they go into flat track races because they've got great presence of mind and great car control. So we come down to heat 2 of the super stocks. And man, there were cars threading the needle through traffic. They didn't need to hit them. They didn't need to punt them into the wall. They just needed to get around them. And sometimes they'd sneak up behind them, just give it a little love tap to spin that car out of the way. And all I could think of was, holy smoke, when we get teams racing out here, someone is going to try that Hail Mary from NASCAR, and they're going to make sure their teammates do all the work, and then they're going to nail the car to the fence, and they're just going to rim ride that thing all around the top because the track can stand it. Do you have the cojones to make your car do that? So it for me, it changed how I view the event. I absolutely loved it. I learned techniques, I learned strategies, I learned just how much thought and technology goes into these cars. And it changed my whole view of it, and I was really privileged to be part of it. I still love open wheelers because they are so damn fast. But man alive, there's a lot more talent out there on the stock car tracks. And you want to see close racing that is, honestly, there was the New Zealand #1 in Super Stocks. He had a great first heat. Had a terrible second heat because he didn't make much time because everyone else had got up to standard and got on the track. And he absolutely loved it. His report to me was, this is a great track. I don't mind where I come because we're just having a great time on the track. And that to me underlined absolutely everything. The track performed brilliantly. Everyone enjoyed it, and we can't wait to get racing. This weekend, it's Demo Derby.
Oh, Demo Derby, going to be there.
Are you going to be there?
I didn't know you were going to be there. And I'm really,
are you driving?
Well, no, I'll drive the microphone. I'll be doing one of these. But I love those sort of events. I know you guys had fireworks on the Saturday night, but I love the derbies. I love the spectator fun and all that sort of thing. That's more my wheelhouse. I'm not really that knowledgeable on the speedway classes that are there, probably less so than yourself, to be fair. But from your point of view, turning up for the first time to actually be part of the production, I think it's fantastic that you guys are going to be producing what they have there on the stock car nights as well as the open wheel nights, because it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. But the other thing too is that they're not $10 teams. Some of those cars are worth a lot of money.
Not at all.
And I think the professionalism of them in the pits, and which is again another story in itself, how big the pits are now. But the professionalism of these teams, they have the posters, they have the caption T-shirts, they have the the look of the. I mean, some of these saloons, super saloons, stock cars, super stocks. Beautifully turned out cars. I mean, and mini stocks too.
They are real racing teams, aren't they?
Yeah,
like you
really
say, they've got the branding, they've got the presence, they've got, like you say, the merchandise at the, you can get your supporters cap for the 43A. I don't know who that is, but anyway, I'll just pick the number. But, they are proper, as much as it's easy to look at Speedway racing, it's just a bunch of hooligans turning left.
But this is what's going to be really good for the Auckland sport and for Speedway in general, non-open wheelers, because having you and the production that you're part of there, just to give them a chance to shine. I mean, it's not to say one's better than the other, but at the same facility, you're able to actually encapsulate what goes on this day.
We haven't had that type of facility for Auckland drivers. Other tracks around the country are great live streams that come out of there. And it's great to have the ability to do that in Auckland now. And of course, that's the other thing that I learned is it's not just super saloons turning up at Waikaraka. When they're not racing at Waikaraka, they're racing another track. So every weekend they're racing somewhere. It's a rolling circus. Same with the super stocks, So they get around the country. So honestly, get out there and support it. And Nathan, you underlined one thing about when it comes to getting the cap, the T-shirt, the sticker, that sort of thing, pick your team. Pick your team. Just don't go for the one that's NZ #1 because he's NZ #1. I mean, he's bloody good. But pick the team that sparks for you. If it's a local guy, then you get on and you support that team, because the beautiful thing about it is on the right day, when the track comes in, everyone is as quick as each other. So it comes down to the skill. And you know what really makes a difference is your support. If you go down to the pits afterwards and you tell them how much you enjoyed their race, man, that pumps them up. They go out for the next heat and they're ready to roll.
And all girls too. A lot of women starting to come through, mini stock classes, stock car classes. What are the classes? I think there's other women in other classes.
Mini stocks is where everyone starts. A lot of females in the mini stocks. And of course, when they graduate out of that, some of them are going straight into super stocks or super saloons or stock cars. And I have to say this, and there's a lot of guys going to be kind of pissed off about this, but when you watch the races and you find out which of the cars that are performing out there and really doing well, and then you come back to the pits and you find out it's a female driver and she came up through mini stocks, everyone will tell you it's the skills you learn in mini stocks, the ability to remember it and not lose your cool. That's the thing. It's losing your cool that costs you time on the track. And the women, they're really good.
I genuinely, I think motorsport's probably the only sport where it does not matter your gender. You know, like rugby, for argument's sake, men are always stronger than women. That's just a biological fact.
And men are more likely just to run into
we keep the genders apart. And then, you know, same with, I mean, any physical sport, right? You know, boxing or rugby or anything like that. But motorsport, it's purely down to your reactions. It's down to you as a driver, your sort of, you know, your ability to be one with the car, really. But yeah, like you say, there should be more women.
You are opening a whole tin of worms. Should there be? No, that's not a bad thing. It's a good discussion point. Excuse me. Should we have a Formula Women's class when all women can turn a steering wheel, push pedals, and use their brains about where the car should be and what the car be? But that's another conversation. Maybe we should put that as a topic point. And we know women drivers that can pedal. We know that there's some talent. But I just want to get back to Speedway quickly. And please, don't think we won't ever come back to
I had a slightly different segue for the Speedway thinking, because we were obviously at the practice on Thursday night with the sprint cars and stuff. You managed to get some compliments of the track from Rodney Wood.
Yeah. Yeah, he had his son Cole's sprint car out there. It was chasing an engine issue, which didn't look too bad when he was out there. But at the end of the night, it started to show its gremlins a little bit of time. So I do understand there's an issue there. Rodney, he liked the track, liked how he could keep the car on there, did a lot of testing on the car, and he was very complimentary. And Rodney Wood, of course, ex-New Zealand Speedway a sprint car champion, multiple sprint car champion, and the Makatu Poultry is always a huge sponsor of him, so great to see that out there. And he's based in Bay Park, so he's always racing down Bay Park. But I'd say both he and Cole will be travelling up just to get a run at Waikaraka, just to get their cars out on the track. And when they do, watch out, because Rodney already knows the lie of the land.
So with a couple of things, with the production you do, obviously as a presenter in that of the Speedway that's on now, including the stock cars, which is just like, you got no idea as an Auckland Speedway supporter, as an Auckland stock car and that, what has been missing at Waikaraka Park, and the fact that you're there now and the camera crew are there now, and big, you know, you've got a great producer there and director who knows how to put this all together. Is that available for people to watch on the night? Is it on TV? Is it a live stream? How do people watch that?
It's a live stream and comes out through Pits TV media, yeah. So get onto Pits TV and find out how you can get hold of it. And Demo Derby will be a bit of fun, because we've never done that before. And the Open Wheelers turn up on December the 13th. And it'll be their first hit out of the track, and that's going to be interesting. But what we have got out of this is there's going to be more surface going in, because everyone was saying, you know, the pole line was a bit short and things like that. But that's because it's been 6 weeks of delays through rain and things like that. So one, we're really lucky to get a track. Two, we're really lucky the track performed and everyone liked it. Three, there'll be more surface going in. And four, it will just get better. There was one word that came out that I was surprised at talking to some of the drivers. They said, this could get too fast.
Oh, wow. So Speedway, now with Auckland, we've had the Western Springs open wheelers, and we've got the Waikaraka non-open wheelers, contact class and others, right? I saw a comment from Wellington Speedway. They said, look, all we've got is Wellington Speedway. We run everything. Yep. We run sprint cars, we run modifieds, we run stock cars, we run saloons, we run everything.
And so that's the way it should be.
And correct. But, well, this is the question I'm coming to.
Not necessarily on the same night.
No, but is there going to be, I think at the moment the season 25-26 is going to be that there's the open wheel class, the Western Springs cars, if you will, and then there's the stock car contact class and saloons and all that. How do you take that as far as, I mean, this is just your personal thoughts, not how it should be or whatever, but what would your take be on seasons after 25-26 at Waikaraka Park? Should there be inclusion, or should it still be its own separate DNA?
Here's what I would suggest. As a punter, what I'd like to see in the long term is wide-tired cars. They race on the circuit, and cars that are more inclined to dig in a little bit more. Stock cars, let's put on a massive stock car event. You know, because honestly, these guys were just chucking it and surprised at the amount of grip because the little skinny tyres compared to, they didn't think they were going to get the grip they were, and the track came to them. And that pleased so many drivers, and it just upped the level of their enjoyment and the speed. Unbelievable. Like, you're standing on the fence, and in the first heat, it's row, 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 like that as the cars go past. Yeah, that's all right. Second heat, they were twice as quick. You know, all of them, not just one of the cars, all of them had got to grips with it, and even the mini stocks. I overheard one of the guys saying, if I let a little bit of air out of the back tyre, I'm going to get a bit more side bite as we roll through there. So even the mini stocks were starting to use a little bit of, trickery, blokery, just to get that little bit of grip. Cool. They just wanted to go racing, and that's it. Full stop. Just want to go racing.
I hear from the spectators. Some spectators had said something similar, and it's very positive. But there is a certain piece of apparatus that you need to take to Waikaraka Park now, and it's goggles. Because the dust is just... this is only because the speed is so high.
I'm going to stop you there. Some people mention the dust, and if, like me, you've spent seasons and seasons at Western Spring Speedway, dust was not an issue. I've been to Bay Park once where dust was such an issue. I had a shower afterwards, and there was a 1/4 inch of mud in the shower afterwards because the dust just comes up. So everywhere that's a racetrack is going to get some dust. I will say this. The track prep guys were watering it down every now and again just to keep the dust down, make sure the grip level was right. So they're still experimenting. And I'm predicting this, once we get sort of halfway through the season, dust is not going to be an issue.
It wasn't a negative. What they were saying was that some of the spectating points now are closer to the track because the track's wider, and because of the speed of these vehicles. And it wasn't no way was anyone going, I'm not going there again. It was quite the opposite. It's like next time I want to actually see, because I'd look away, to see some of the racing because the dust would be coming up. And I'm guessing modifieds might with their wings if they were there, and stock cars have wings.
They'll put a big push in. Yeah.
So then imagine an open wheel night, with sprint cars at 10 million miles.
We've got a big screen. It looks fabulous. You'll be able to catch all the action on the big screen. Don't you worry about it.
Just keep your eyes over there.
Yeah, and the reality is, when I first started going down to Western Springs, when I first came to Auckland, my preferred place to be was as close to the fence as possible. I used to go, the security people used to say, well, but you sit back, you might get hit by mud. And he said, dude, I'm supposed to be hit by mud.
That's what I'm here for.
This is Speedway, you idiot. And that has been my mantra in everything. If I don't get a speck'em out of me or clob it in the head with a big clump of earth, then I'm not racing.
That's why his last name is Brown.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Hey, I just want to change tack a little bit because we need to probably wrap this up fairly soon, guys. It's the Waiuku versus Waiheke Island Dirt Track Challenge. Happened over the weekend. It was the hubcap. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The rain decided that we were going to do race 24. We had 52 races on a day at Waiuku. It was race 24, geared up to be because it beat the rain. Yeah, the rain turned up after race 11. We sucked as far as getting that race done. Waiheke Island said, you know what? You guys are racing again in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's the 13th of December. We're going to leave our cars here, and here. So they're doing that. And so, we're going to come back. Don't worry, we're not gone. We'll come back, no problem. Leave the cars there because it's cheaper on the ferry than, taking it back. So then one of the guys from the committee says, well, we're still here and we're all saturated because I was in my commentary booth, nice and dry, but they were saturated. What we should do is do the Undy 400. Oh, what the heck's the Undy 400? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it got good. So I thought, well, okay, we've got Waiheke, we've got Waiuku. Waiheke Island, the only dirt track club in Auckland, only dirt track club I think that owns their own land. So they said, let's do the Undy 400. So sweet. So I made a call for the Undy boys. Right, we're going to get some guys and girls. Girls are okay, but you've got to be in your undies. So, of course, straight away we get some young fella, and he's a real hard case guy. Yeah, I'm going to get onto it. Okay, sweet as. But we can't do one person. We need a team. We need a Waiheke or we need more Waiuku. So he goes, boys, come up there. And these other louts, they were good buggers. They're real good guys. And they come up, you'll be into this. I said, all right, well, we need the Waiheke. We've got 6 Waiuku representatives. And then they said, we need one. So I said, we need Waiheke Island crickets. Need Waiheke Island crickets. Okay, look, guys, you got 3 minutes. If we don't get any Waiheke, I don't care if you're male, female, tall, fat, skinny, old, young, whatever, needs to get up here right now because we need to have a challenge against Waiuku. They're laying down a challenge. There's 6 guys here, and they can be guys or girls. Doesn't really care. But we need someone to come and take them on for the Undy 400. First time ever. It was a crazy Carl Sutton idea, and if you know Waiuku dirt track, Carl Sutton, he's crazy at the best of times. So no one turned up from Waiheke Island. They defaulted. They get a down trail, and that'll be paid in 2 weeks' time, and don't forget that. And, of course, we run them around the track. So these boys, up in my booth, right, boys need to get ready. So it's absolutely hosing down. So the boys are right, sweetheart, and they come down to their jock strap and jandals. And, of course, there was someone up in the booth, and she's like, I don't know where to go. There's another young lady there who's doing the TikTok, and she's thinking this is Christmas.
So it's online.
Yeah, well, it will be. And so then anyway, they're all down to their whatever they're wearing underneath, and they shoot down to the track, and no Waiuku turns up. Carl's up and goes out there as the officiator, and I didn't even know it was there. Someone has a green flag, so they all line up and boom, drop the green flag. These guys run the thing, and Waiuku are now the holder of the Undy for hundy paper trophy, which we haven't made up yet.
Now, just quickly, is that a challenge that will stand to any club that wants to come to Waiuku and challenge them?
Look, the Undy for hundy, we're making the rules up as we speak.
Right.
We are the committee of the Undy for hundy.
All right, so you know what to do if you want to go to Waiuku.
2 weeks' time.
Yeah, get yourself sorted. It's going to be great.
We'll do it after the lunch break, and we'll just want to finish, if that's okay, on the incident we had at Hampton Downs a week or so ago with the NZIGP race meet. We're not going to mention the driver. There was a TA2 incident, and it was quite a serious one.
It was quite publicised as well.
Quite heavily.
And there's a lot of rumours, and we just want to dispel those rumours by saying that the driver concerned totally and utterly appreciates all the support. The family got massive. The motorsport community did a really nice thing and shut up about it. And there were bits and pieces floating around, obviously the worst, but wasn't the worst. And the driver is not only out of harm's way, but I believe home over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So happy done. And again, just want to shout out to the NZIGP. Want to shout out to Motorsport New Zealand. Want to shout out to the Motorsport Club and all the officials and volunteers. And actually, I was talking yesterday at Waiuku Dirt Track to Ryan Turner, who does Kiwi Recovery, part of the recovery for Supercars, and helps out at those bigger meets. He actually wasn't there for that day. He was coming back and he heard the call about there's a serious incident. So he goes and responds. And of course, by that stage, ambulances are turned up, then the fire engine turns up, not long later the helicopter, and he was well impressed that, the whole systems worked and the motorsport community came together, and it was just fantastic. So, really want to shout that out as well. And, the safety of motorsport, yes, the car wasn't really the issue. It was the health conditions. But no matter what happens, people were geared, they were set. What happened in that control room was just fantastic.
And that's the thing. There's always unforeseen circumstances, but everything is done to try and mitigate the potential hazards in motorsport before the car even rolls on the track. That's from driver health right through to the making sure you got brake pads and you got the good tyres on. So that's what it is. It's a dangerous motorsport. It's a thrilling motorsport, but you do what you can. I mean, hell's teeth. You could cross the road, get hit by a bus.
Yep.
There you go. So that's it for this week. We'll catch you back next week. Oh my God, it's nearly Christmas. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.